Emma, let's start, shall we, with Prince William confirming on the Isles of Scilly yesterday that Kate is doing well. I thought it was a very brave lady to say, "Are we allowed to ask how the Princess of Wales is?" And I thought, well, we're not, so good for you.
Yeah, and there's been so much, and I know we're trying to give them their privacy, but, I mean, I think lots of us really do feel really concerned about how Catherine is doing and all of that. So we kind of seize at these little snippets, don't we? So William, on the other side of the royals, on the slightly more hard-working side of the royals, he's been visiting Cornwall, 2-day trip. This is sort of the first time he's been away for a couple of days since the diagnosis was announced. He's been down in Cornwall. He went to the Isles of Scilly. He bought 5 pasties for his entourage in one of these delicious Cornish shops. And one of the...
He carries cash, does he? Interesting.
I don't... Yeah, well, presumably.
Or maybe you don't need to these days. You just have a card.
Maybe he had a card. I was wondering about that. How did he pay for them? And in one of the hospitals he visited on the Isles of Scilly, an administrator, a hospital administrator, asked him how Kate was doing, and he said, "She's doing well, thanks." So it's all we have, but we have to hope that is...
I mean, he was hardly going to say, well, actually, last week when she was having X, Y, Z...
Of course.
But what was interesting is that she was felt able to ask him what we are told we're not to ask, and that's fair enough, let them have their privacy, but we're all desperate to hear the answer.
No, we are, and obviously when it was announced that Friday evening of what had been going on, it was a massive shock to the whole country, wasn't it? And until we hear official word from the palace, then we're just going to have to rely on little snippets like this because we just don't know.
Not forget, initially we were told until after Easter.
Yeah,
then there was a question mark about trooping the colour, but now there seems to be no sort of talk about when, and, you know, fair enough, but... You know, it does seem to be serious. So,
it does.
Again, we wish her
What's
very
quite telling as well, I went through some of the social media comments on this, and people that live on the Isle of Scilly were just saying how close they got, how wonderful it was. He's supporting local businesses. And that pasty shop will now be, like, treasured, you know, forever. People forever go there.
On the Quay. It sounds great. It's called On the Quay.
Compare and contrast with this I feel at home in Nigeria vibe that Meghan's putting out. 2 very, very different takes on how to be a royal.
How to be a royal, and, are the Sussexes, do they want to be royals or do they not? Because they seem to want sort of half the trappings but without all the kind of responsibilities. But, I mean, William's doing it exactly right, isn't he? And he loves Tresco, which is one of the isles down there, and he used to go visit... I know, it's beautiful. He used to go there as a child, I think. So, he's back down there.
It's just very sad on a human level as well, isn't it? These 2 brothers who obviously went through a lot growing up, obviously can't stand the sight of each other right now, and it's just really sad.
Well, it goes beyond the brothers. I mean, we are told from some of the papers this morning that the King didn't have time in his schedule to see his son because he was actually meeting David Beckham for a private meeting.
Well, who would you choose?
All about priorities.
I mean, I know who I'd
It's all about priorities.
But, you know, you surely, I mean, you could just pop in as well. I reckon that Harry and Bex are pals, probably. So what's gone on there, and will they ever be able to repair things?
And they really were so close. I mean, when you compare the Buckingham Palace garden party, a couple of miles down the road, literally Harry was at Westminster or wherever it was. It wasn't far.
They were
absolutely would have been possible for him
3 miles apart, and yet absolutely worlds apart in terms of their emotional state. Kev, let's move